Guys, welcome back to my channel and thanks for clicking on today's video. Today's video is going to be the long-awaited video on the new Jaclyn Hill palette times Morphe. Now I've gotten this palette, what, a week, 2 weeks ago, and I'm now getting the chance to film a video using the palette. So basically I'm going to be doing only the eye look using this palette, letting you guys know how I love it, if I love it, and the blendability of it, the pigmentation of it, and so forth. I filmed another video showing you guys how I cover my dark spots up on the face and also my summer routine for foundation. So if you guys want to see how I get this, it will be linked down below in the description box, so go ahead and check that out. Or I will annotate it up into this video somewhere. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, I suggest you take a minute, go on down there, hit that subscribe button, and also the notification bell. I suggest you guys click on that if you want to be informed of when I upload a new video and future videos. In the palette you do get a card which shows all the names of the shadows, and of course there is my girl Jaclyn. And this is what the palette came in: a bubble wrap sleeve, white, nice and sleek, but we all know this is not going to stay nice, white and sleek. So we're gonna just jump into the palette. Ooh, it does come with a sleeve inside, which who cares because I'm not gonna use that anyways. And this is what the palette looks like. Oh my god, I love it. Love it. I just hope that they're very pigmented and blendable and buttery and soft, like Jaclyn always talks about shadows. I just hope it's as good as she always talks. I have not touched, swatched, smelled, breathed this palette since I've gotten it. This is the first time I'm literally opening the palette, and I've had it for like almost 2 weeks. Could you believe that? It's been itching me to get my fingers in here. So let's dive in. I don't know what look I want to do right now. I want to keep it as simple as possible because this is a kind of a review on the palette, but we will be doing more videos, of course, with these colors. I'm gonna stay away from this section right here because quite a lot of people are using it and I want to not be like everyone else. So I'm gonna go ahead and use some other colors in the palette. Not sure what I want to do, but I'm gonna try to be different. Yeah, I'm gonna try to be as basic though, not too complicated with the shadows. And of course we will be doing more looks using this palette. So if there's any particular color in here you want me to use, leave your comments down below in the comment section and let me know, and I'll try to get it up as soon as possible. Of course, with any eye look you want to go ahead and prime in the lids. I'm using a concealer, and I'm using the Wet n Wild concealer from the Photo Focus line in a medium D10. But I have so much primers in there now in my drawer. I have so much primers and I'm just like, fuck this shit, man. I'm just gonna use my concealer, and that's what I've been using quite a lot lately. Set that concealer so it doesn't crease on your ass, and so you can go ahead and blend, you know, your shadows better. So the third shadow, so I'll be going in with this one right here to set my concealer. And I love that I have a shade like this in this palette, because normally I will have to dip into my Tartelette palette to get a shade to set this concealer, but there is one in here, so that's really good. Okay, so far so good. Now we need a transition color, and I'll be going in with the second row, second shadow. That's right, the second row of the palette, the second shadow. This is like the perfect transition color for me. Now I'll be going in with a deeper brown, and this is the 4th row, the last shadow right above the black. So this shadow right here. Look how easily this is blending out. The pigmentation is on point here, man. On point. I'm gonna be going back in with a little bit of my transition color. Just pop that lightly over this dark brown. The kick up on the palette is not too bad. There is a bit of kick up, but that's kind of expected. Now the 4th row, the 4th shadow in, so that will be this one right here. I'll be going in with this one. So my brush is not wet, and I have no like base primer down for this shadow. This is a, what is this, a satin shadow, shimmer shadow. This one is not as pigmented, you guys are not even seeing it. It's not pigmented. Well, it's pigmented, but not as pigmented as I expected it to be. And of course there is some fallout, which is expected when shadows are this soft. But it's not as pigmented, you guys are not even seeing it. So I'm going to go ahead and wet the brush. Let's wet the brush and see if it looks. Now you guys can slightly see it, right? This is after I wet the shadow, and there is quite a bit of fallout, so I'll get rid of that. Let's try this with the finger. You can see there is a lot of fallout on the face from this shadow. I'm going to go in with the dark matte brown in the palette, which is the 5th shadow on the last row, which is right here. I'll be popping that on the outer part of the eye. I'll be taking the first shade in the palette, just this one right here. I'm putting that under the brows. Okay, that's the top. So that's the top lid's finish. I'm gonna go ahead and do the lower lashes. I kind of want to do a orange pop of color on the lower lash. Let's see. Go first in with our transition color. Then we will go in with this orange shade in the palette, which is this one right here. Then I will go in with this shade right here to blend the edges out of this orange reddish color. And this shade actually reminds me a bit of Chickadee from M.A.C. And that's pretty much the eye look. I'm gonna go ahead and put some mascara on, and that's it. No lashes. The mascara I'll be using is the Telescopic from Loreal. So I did went in with this gold shadow here at the end of the second row, and I popped that in the inner corner of the eyes, and I do love this shadow. It's very, very pigmented. This shadow right here that I used for the lids, which is this one here, unfortunately it's not as pigmented that I was hoping it to be. I really had to pack this shadow on to get it to where it's at right now. But nevertheless, all the shadows work pretty nicely. Pretty nicely. Loved how they blend. They're pigmented for the most part. And I would say I would rate this palette 8 out of 10. I'm not gonna give it a full 10. I'll give it like an 8 out of 10. Maybe the ratings will go up, who knows, when I use the palette more, I'll let you guys know. But for today's video, I'll give it an 8 out of a 10. Do I recommend you guys getting it when it comes back in stock? Yes, I do, because there's a lot of shadows in this palette that you can use for everyday, for pop of colors, for a lot of things. Not only that, the price is pretty good. Also, it's very pigmented, very blendable, very soft shadows. Of course, with any palette, there's gonna be one or two that is not, you know, up to everyone's standards. But overall, Jaclyn did a great job with this palette. The shade that I used for the lid, you guys will see in the demo. I kind of struggled with it a little bit because it wasn't as pigmented. It wasn't as pigmented that I was hoping it to be. I had to really pack this shadow on. I wet it and packed it on, use the fingers. You guys will see in the demo, but that does not take away the beauty of the palette in the hold. I definitely love this palette. This is the shadow that I'm talking about that did not really go on pretty pigmented using a brush on the lids. I didn't do a swatch video because it doesn't make sense to do a swatch video because you're not going to be using the shadows on your arm. So it doesn't make sense to swatch on the arm. So the best way to review any palette or any eyeshadows is to just use the fucking thing on your eyes and you'll know how good it is. There was a lot of fallout from this particular shadow. Like I said, this is the first time I'm using this palette, but like I said, and I'll keep saying, that does not take away how beautiful the palette is. That was just one shadow. I will be playing around with this palette a bit more, and I will be doing more tutorials with the other colors in the palette. Today is just a demo, so I used a few shadows. These mattes at the top here, so pigmented, buttery and soft, and so easy to blend. We'll see how the other colors work, especially the colored ones. But overall, I do recommend you guys getting this palette. It is definitely worth it. The packaging, I don't like it too much. Not because of the cardboardness of it. I love these kind of packaging. Honestly, I do love these kind of packaging. But the color that she chose for her packaging, come on now. We all know our fingers are gonna fuck the palette up with foundation and everything else. This is the first time using this palette, and look at my palette. It's already so freaking messy. Like, it's already so messy, but who cares, right? Like, who fucking cares? It's not that it's gonna go on display anywhere. And the inside, of course, it did get messy, of course, in the inside. Even though the inside is not white, it is like a slate color, like a gray color. But the outside is the white. But as you can see, there's shit all over it already. And I just used it just today. By the end of this week, if I continue using this palette every day, it probably might be brown and not white anymore. But overall, I love this palette. Jaclyn never disappoints when it comes to her launches or her stuff. Like I said, I have quite a few stuff from her, like her Becca highlighter, Champagne Pop, from her palette with the collaboration with Becca. The palette that she made, I have that. Now at this palette, Jaclyn, you did a great job. I enjoyed this small review and this makeup tutorial using this palette. Let me know down below in the comment section. Of course, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And until my next video, I will catch you guys later. Bye guys.